Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really interesting narrative. It's called On Passive Victory with Ash. We're going to break down the key messages, the main themes that really make this story tick. And right out of the gate, they set up this really powerful way of thinking. The idea is that victory isn't something you go out and get. No, it's something that's already inside you. And that core belief, well, that's the bedrock for everything else we're about to see. All right, so let's get into this first big theme, this vision for tomorrow. What is it? Well, the source material makes it clear this isn't just, a business plan. It's framed as something way bigger, the fulfillment of what they call a divine promise. So what does victory with Ash actually mean? The source defines it as that exact moment, when what you've been believing in finally becomes real. And there's a really important twist here. They say this isn't about competing with anyone, it's about completing something together. It's about a whole group rising up as one. And that right there tells you they're playing the long game. The whole narrative is that this wasn't some get-rich-quick scheme. No, it was designed for tomorrow, for future generations, all built on this foundation of automation, trust, and prosperity. It's all about looking way down the road. Okay, but if you're gonna have a vision that big, you need a certain kind of mindset to get there, right? And that brings us to our next big idea: faith, patience, and preparation. In this story, being patient isn't just a good quality to have. It's basically the cost of entry. And this is a really central belief in the narrative. The idea that real victory, that's for the people who believe before there's any proof. This completely changes how you look at the long waiting period. It wasn't a delay, you see. It was a crucial, intentional part of the whole process. And here's where the story really draws a line in the sand. It creates these two distinct groups. You have the faithful, the ones who stuck it out and trusted the vision. And then you have the doubters, the ones who questioned it and left. It's a pretty powerful way to build this sense of us, a shared identity for everyone who stayed. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The waiting wasn't wasted, it was shaping us. It frames that whole period as a test, like it was forging them into something stronger. The message here is pretty clear. What's coming is so powerful, it could only be given to people who proved they could handle the weight. All right, so we've got the big vision. We've got the mindset of faith and patience. But how does this all actually happen? What's the engine that makes it all work? Well, that's where the tech comes into play. Let's look at what they call the ecosystem of empowerment. So at the core of all this is a whole suite of products that all work together, the OES. And the strategy seems pretty straightforward, right? They're building a complete, self-contained digital universe. So instead of jumping between different apps for everything, the idea is to have one place, one solution for it all. But here's the thing you've got to understand. They're not just presenting these as simple tools. The story they're telling is that each one is a key that can unlock your own potential, both personal and financial. They're not just apps, they're supposed to be vehicles for transformation. But cool tech is one thing. To really be a movement, you need people, a lot of people. And that leads us right into the next piece of the puzzle. This idea of building a massive, global community of founders. And they describe this community as a truly global thing, something that crosses all borders, uniting everyone under one flag of progress. And just listen to the words they use: a worldwide awakening, the movement of miracles. That language is chosen very carefully, It's designed to make people feel like they're part of something huge, something historic. So, let's recap. We have the big vision, we have the followers who waited patiently, we have the technology ecosystem, and we have the global community. So, what's the end game? Where's all of this headed? Well, it all culminates in what the source calls the promised era of overflow. And this is where the narrative really starts to build. It hits you with a series of really direct, powerful declarations. It starts by acknowledging that long wait, saying straight up, your patience has a payday. Then it speaks to all the challenges, all the hurdles they had to overcome. Your endurance has a reward. And finally, it brings it all home, right back to that core idea of belief. Your faith has a future. I mean, think about that. That three-part punch, it's the whole promise of the entire project boiled down into just a few powerful words. Really effective. So this era of overflow, this is the big promise at the end of the rainbow. It's pitched as this age of incredible abundance, blessings, opportunities, rewards, all coming through that tech ecosystem. And the message is crystal clear. This isn't luck. This isn't winning the lottery. This is presented as what you have earned through all those years of belief. And then they wrap it all up with this incredibly powerful closing statement. It completely reframes the whole thing. Victory with Ash stops being just a catchphrase and becomes a prophecy fulfilled. That word choice implies that this outcome was inevitable, that it was always meant to be. It really elevates the whole thing beyond just business. It makes it feel almost destined. So that's the story of Victory with Ash in a nutshell. It's all about what happens when a long-held belief finally crosses the finish line, and it really leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? When a journey that was all about waiting and believing is finally over, what comes next?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into something pretty fascinating, how just 3 little words in a software pop-up turned into this huge, powerful mantra for an entire online community. It's wild. They took a simple system update and made it into something so much bigger.
I mean, it's a pretty wild question when you think about it, right? How can a few words on a screen just explode like that? How do they go from pixels to, inspiring actual belief and action? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So, the scene for this whole thing is the OnPassive ecosystem. It's basically this AI tech company with a bunch of digital tools, and they have this community of early adopters they call founders. Imagine this. One day, they all log in, and bam, there's this one single pop-up message waiting for them.
And here they are, the 3 words that started it all. So simple, so direct. But as we're about to see, for the community that saw these pop up on their dashboards, they were loaded with an absolutely incredible amount of meaning.
Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. Because this wasn't just, hey, system update. No way. It was immediately framed as something much bigger. A divine spark. Like a personal call to action sent straight from the top to every single person in the community.
So let's break this whole thing down step by step. It's like a journey in 3 parts. Each word builds on the one before it, and it's designed to take you from this moment of awakening to a process of alignment, and then finally to a mindset of pure victory.
All right, first up, rise. And we're not just talking about, standing up. No, this is framed as something way deeper, a profound awakening.
So for everyone in this community, Rise is basically like a sunrise. It's this super powerful symbol telling all the members who've been patiently waiting and believing in this project that, hey, your time is now. It's like this massive moment of collective validation all in one word.
And man, they packed a ton of meaning into this one word. It's a call to tap into your inner strength, to finally push past any doubts or fears, and it's also a signal that, hey, the ecosystem is alive and kicking. It's all about a total rebirth of your purpose.
In this quote, this one really nails the kind of mindset that the Rise message is trying to create. It's more than just a statement, it's an affirmation. It's designed to transform you from someone just watching from the sidelines into an active player in what they're calling a future miracle. Pretty powerful stuff.
Okay, on to the second word, reset. Now, usually when you hear reset, it can sound kind of negative, like something went wrong and you got to start all over from scratch. But here, it means something completely different.
And this distinction is absolutely crucial. The key thing to understand is that reset here isn't about failure. Not at all. It's been totally reframed as a powerful upgrade. Get this. It's a chance to start smarter, building on everything that's already there.
The reset also has this other layer. It's meant to be a moment for you to look inward. It's basically asking you to remember your why. What was that original spark that made you join? Why did you keep believing even when maybe other people were skeptical?
And here we go again with that really holistic view. The reset isn't just about the software. It's being presented as this massive, simultaneous alignment of the tech, your emotions, and even your spiritual purpose. The whole shebang.
Wow.
I mean, this quote just lays it all out there, doesn't it? It directly connects something super technical, upgrading computer systems, with something incredibly personal, a spiritual transformation. I mean, talk about powerful aspirational language. That's next level. Okay, so you've risen, you've reset. What's next? We've arrived at the final and maybe most critical step, refocus. And this is where everything shifts. We're moving from all that internal prep work to external action. Refocus here is all about one thing, clarity. It means cutting through all the noise, all the distractions out there. It's a direct order to channel all your energy on what really matters and to lock in that victory mindset. The message is clear. The waiting game is over. It is time to win.
And there's the call to action, straight from the top from Ash Mufareh himself. It's the anchor for this whole idea, really. A super clear instruction. Just tune out all the noise and the negativity, and put all your focus on the big dream.
So what is that dream they're supposed to be focusing on? Well, it's not just a business. It's framed as something way, way bigger. They actually call it a spiritual blueprint. So it's linking a very practical goal, financial freedom, to this higher, you could almost say sacred purpose.
All right, let's put all the pieces together. Rise, reset, refocus. When you see them lined up, you can really start to understand the psychological punch that this simple little pop-up packs.
What it really does is create this perfect little motivational journey for you. Rise, that's your call to believe again. Reset, that's clearing the deck, getting rid of the old baggage. And refocus, that's when you start walking forward with purpose. See how it flows?
But here's the thing. This whole sequence, it's not being sold as just a clever software update or some slick motivational campaign. No, it's positioned as something so much more significant.
And there it is, the ultimate framing. The real kicker, this isn't just a new message. For the community, it's seen as the culmination of everything they've been promised. It's the idea that this moment, right now, was basically foretold. It's a prophecy coming true.
So when you step back, the real genius here is the communication strategy. It's a total masterclass in tapping into that deep human need we all have for meaning. They took something super mundane, a software notification, and by wrapping it in this aspirational, almost spiritual language, they turned it into this profound symbol of hope, renewal, and victory.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought, doesn't it? In this digital world we all live in, you have these tight-knit communities built on shared beliefs and digital signals. And the line between a simple message and what someone might call a miracle can get incredibly blurry. It just makes you wonder, who really gets to decide what's a message and what's a miracle?
So what if a software update was more than just new features? What if it was, and I'm quoting here, a spiritual upgrade for the entire digital world? That is the absolutely huge claim at the heart of a message from Ash Mufareh that we're going to break down today. It's being framed as a full-on software revolution, so let's dive in and see what that actually means. Right off the bat, the message kicks off with this massive statement. This isn't just about introducing a product, it's about making you feel like you are right here, right now, at a turning point in history. The whole idea is to get you leaning in, thinking you're about to see something that really changes everything. And boom, there it is, a direct, super bold declaration. According to the source material, this isn't just some clever marketing line. It's the core belief of the whole announcement. We're being told flat out that this is history in the making. Okay, so what is this revolution, really? Well, the source material frames it all around this idea that software isn't just lines of code. It's described as living creations of purpose. The central theme seems to be this incredible blend of really advanced tech with a very human, almost compassionate foundation. And these principles right here, this is apparently what it's all built on. You've got truth, transparency, transformation, and compassion. The message is pretty clear. It's not just about what the software does, but about the ethical DNA that's supposedly baked right into its core. And this is where the language gets really, really interesting. The source is super explicit about this. This is not just another software update. It's being called a spiritual upgrade. I mean, that's a massive claim, right? It suggests a fundamental shift in how we relate to technology, not just getting a few new bells and whistles. Okay, so that leads us right into the philosophy behind all this tech. It's positioned as a complete break from that typical profit-first corporate mindset. The driving force is described as something much deeper, a deeper calling to actually serve people. And wow, this slide really lays out the contrast, doesn't it? On one side, you have the old way of doing things, all about profit, automation, connecting systems. But on the other side, you have this new vision that's focused on people and something called awakening. And look at that last line. It talks about connecting souls, not just servers. That is a gigantic leap from what we normally expect from a tech company. At the very heart of this whole philosophy is a concept the source calls divine purpose. This really seems to be the ultimate why behind everything, this core belief that technology's real job, its true mission, is to make our lives simpler, bring back a sense of fairness, and at the end of the day, serve all of humanity. This quote feels like the mantra for the whole movement, and it's really important to know who this message is for. It's not just aimed at the general public, it's for a core community of people described as dreamers, believers, and founders. They're the ones positioned to really carry this vision forward. Okay, so we've talked about the high-level philosophy, the big ideas. But what does this revolution actually look like in the real world? Let's get into the actual software, which the source calls the Miracle Smart Systems. And here they are, the actual tools in this ecosystem. It's a whole suite of products, you guys. It covers everything from finance with O-Wallet to communication with O-Connect to social connection with O-Net. And each one is framed around that core philosophy we just talked about. So O-Tracker isn't just about data, it's about transparent data. O-Net isn't just another social network, it's about trustworthy connections. You can totally see the pattern here. The whole process is actually boiled down into this simple little formula they call the divine equation. Think of it like a 3-step recipe. You start with faith in the vision, you combine it with the technology of these systems, and the result, the ultimate goal for everyone using it, is freedom. So let's pivot a little. Let's shift the focus from just what this tech is to what it's really meant to do. The source describes it as an engine of empowerment, tech with a human heartbeat. The whole point is that the technology itself is kind of meaningless unless it's actively empowering the people who use it. So this all brings us to the really big question, a question the source actually asks itself. Beyond all the features and the code, what is the true purpose of all these new systems? And the answer starts by telling us what they are not. The message is crystal clear. Don't just think of these as another folder of apps on your phone. No, instead, they're framed as pathways. These are tools specifically designed to help people achieve financial independence. It connects that big, lofty vision to a very real-world, tangible benefit. And that pathway? It's supposed to be built on a foundation of equality. The stated goal here is to completely level the playing field, giving every single user, or founder as they're called, the exact same power to earn, connect, and create, no matter who they are or where they come from. And at the end of the day, it all leads to this feeling. In a digital world that can be so noisy and confusing, the whole point is to create a genuine sense of belonging. This simple quote, "I belong here," represents that feeling of clarity and community that users are meant to find. All right, let's bring it home with this final section. It's focused squarely on the main audience for this message, the founders. Their role gets completely redefined here. They're not just passive users anymore. They're active participants, building a real, lasting legacy. And this is where the message gets super direct, speaking right to that community. It starts by challenging their whole identity, really pushing them to see themselves as something more than just a consumer. Their role is seriously elevated. They're positioned as absolutely essential partners, as co-creators who have a real stake in building this new digital world. Their belief, their resilience, it's all described as being woven right into the fabric of every single software launch. And this just reinforces that incredibly high status. The source literally says they were handpicked for this journey. That places them right beside the movement's leader, Ash Mufareh, not as followers, but as true partners in this mission. And after all that, this grand vision, this new digital dawn, this call to action, the entire message ends on a single word, because. It's a total cliffhanger, right? It leaves the ultimate reason just hanging in the air. It's a final question designed to fuel faith and anticipation and to leave everybody wondering, because of what?